Hi guys and welcome to another Division 2 video. With the new Division 2 gameplay footage and trailers released at E3 2018, there has been plenty to divulge. The release of the focus city being Washington DC to the 8-man raids. But what I want to focus on over my next few videos is things you may not have picked up on unless you've got a very keen eye of course. In today's video we're going to look at some of the new weapon talents coming to the Division 2. We have learned, and I must stress it's only from what we've seen so far, is that firearms, stamina and electronics, although have visual representation in the game, do not affect builds in the Division 2. Don't get me wrong, this may change once we get nearer the release date, but from what I understand this is the case. Meaning we'll find everyone has similar, if not the same, generic builds on the face of it, making the game more user-friendly and bridging the gap between the grinders and the casual players. To strengthen my points even more, weapon mods like scopes, grips, magazines and muzzles will not be a lootable item in the Division 2. They'll be unlockable for their relevant weapons through missions, kills and challenges, a bit similar to the way you unlock weapon attachments in Call of Duty. I do have some concerns on that front regarding grinding for those special mods or even crafting them, but I'll address them in my next video. I want to concentrate on where we will see the diversity between builds in the Division 2. I mean, everyone can't have the same builds, right? Well, from what we've learned so far, the diversity seems to lie within the brand sets and the weapon talents. Again, we'll talk about the brand sets in another video, and we have a little bit more information on them. But as for the weapon talents, they seem to be a lot more buffed in the Division 2, with bonuses similar to those of classified gear sets in the Division 1. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the new weapon talents coming in the Division 2. So first up is Hemorrhage. Killing a bleeding target increases critical hit chance by 25% for all members for 10 seconds. Now straight away it clearly screams Predator Mark, and you'd be right to do so. People have a lot of split opinions on the Predator Mark, because you either love using it or you hate dying to it. So instead of having after bleed effect causing the target a whole host of problems, they've changed it to a player buff, or should we say a team buff. In a similar way, your medical, tech and security talents work now. In my opinion, this is a great idea to take the divided opinion on Predator's Mark away and implement it in an under-the-radar style. Also, you don't have to concentrate on the target, with Hemorrhage making it even more deadly. Next up on our list is Sadist. Damage done to bleeding targets is increased by 15%. It does have a requirement of 15% critical hit chance, but that won't be a problem for the majority. It is unclear at release date of this video if you'll be able to have more than one weapon talent at any given time, but from the footage available, each weapon does only have one talent. Whether or not that's only because we're looking at a certain level weapon in the trailers and the footage, and you'll get more higher tier weapons that maybe have more weapon talents, is yet to be seen. But if it is the case and you can have more than one weapon talent later on in the game, then Sadist and Hemorrhage would couple up very nicely indeed. This may be a little lower in percentage than Hemorrhage, but the damage is instant to the bleeding target rather than having to kill someone first. And it is straight up damage, not critical hit chance. But I suppose it's a personal preference on which one you'd prefer to go, depending on how much critical hit damage or chance you already had into your build. But as far as weapon talents go, these two are pretty cool. Next up on our list is Lock and Load. Reloading from empty increases weapon damage by 20% for 5 seconds. Although nothing like it, I can't help but thinking about the Lone Star gear set. I suppose because it's got similar traits based around reloading or swapping of weapons. But out of the three mentioned so far, this will probably be used, well, as much as the Lone Star gear set is now, which isn't very often. Don't get me wrong, I know you can get a decent Lone Star gear set in the Division, but there are stronger gear sets out there, so people tend not to use it. And there's just little traits of this particular talent that makes me feel it might follow in suit. You've got to use every bullet in the magazine first, which may cause a whole host of problems, especially if you kill somebody with a few bullets left. Is it really worth getting the bullets off on your next target, who could potentially kill you with a full clip? For a 5-second buff, absolutely not. Unless there's something we haven't seen yet with these weapon talents matching up with other talents or attributes, I can't see this being a fan favourite. Next on our list of new weapon talents is Close and Personal. Kills while close double next shot damage. This is clearly aimed towards shotgun players. I mean, I wouldn't want to use it for anything else. If there was a shotgun hybrid with an assault rifle or an SMG through the brand sets, this would be a deadly combination. You could kill someone with an automatic weapon and then switch to the shotgun for that initial damage on your next target. I've never personally been a shotgun player before, but I could see how this would really work for even the casual players, and I think it could be the most experimental weapon talent we've discussed so far. And I suppose you could throw in it'd work on the raids, especially with a sniper rifle in PvE, so yeah, pretty solid talent overall. Next up is Vengeance. Headshot damage is increased by 100% for 15 seconds after your armour is broken. Now the key word here for me is your, because at first I thought, great, this would work handy during raids once an MVP loses his armour and you could whip out your sniper and take him out with ease. But if that isn't a typo and it is aimed at your character, then this could still cause a whole host of problems for any expected rogues. The word vengeance suggests it is about you, well, you and your vengeance anyway, on the enemy whilst you're on your last legs. I can imagine this will be really useful when you get into those close quarter trade-offs where you're pumping clips into each other until one of you is victorious. This could be the game changer. Next up, Unrelenting. Hitting enemies increases critical hit chance by 5%. This bonus stacks up to 10 times, but missing a target removes all stacks. Clearly, this is the equivalent to the current Striker gear set, and if the wording is correct, this has the potential to get up to 50% critical hit chance. This would be ideal for builds that would stack into critical hit damage or anything but critical hit chance. And if assault rifles come with standard critical hit damage like they do now in the Division 1, and then on top of that you stacked everything major into critical hit damage with maybe a little bit of health, then imagine that half of those bullets are doing critical hits. Yeah, you'd be a walking death machine. I'm calling it now, this will be the first thing in Division 2 that gets a nerf. The second to last weapon talent we're going to look at today is Kill Confirmed. Headshot kills grant 10% damage, stacks up to 10 times, but all non-headshots reset the bonus, and there is a requirement of over 140% headshot damage. I don't quite get the wording of this properly. I mean, surely a headshot kill is just one shot, and you'd have to kill 10 people without missing a headshot for it not to reset. If the word kill wasn't there, it'd make more sense. It'd then be similar to our previous talent, Unrelenting. This is clearly aimed towards PvE and snipers, so picking off MVPs from afar. I don't see this getting used in many situations, but yeah, the wording needs adjusting. And finally, Pyromaniac. Damage done to targets on fire is increased by 15%. It requires over 10% weapon damage. The OG players will remember the original gear set, Firecrest, and Pyromaniac having the exact same effect as the 4-piece bonus that it offered. People did use this gear set in the DZ, and if tailored right it could be lethal. Again, I think this will be suited for PvE, like for instance the new raids, and being used for crowd control during waves. Either way, it'll be a great build to have in my arsenal. This is all the talents I've noticed up to now, but I highly expect there'll be plenty more. For instance, Hemorrhage is the only team-based talent in the list, and if you take that into consideration of how many weapon and player talents there were in the division, I don't think we've even scratched the surface. Also, there isn't enough diversity above to suggest that the Division 2 is complete. I really hope not anyway, as it will mean perfecting your builds won't take long at all, and then the game will have the same pulling power as its predecessor. I mean, yes, I've had some downtime away from the game, but I'm still perfecting builds 3 years on. I suppose only time will tell, and my personal opinion is that this is just a sneak preview of what to expect on March the 15th, 2019. Well, that's it for today, guys. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to smack the like button to let me know you're enjoying the Division 2 series. It'll encourage me to make more Division 2 videos, subscribe for more Division 2 content, and finally comment down below with any questions regarding the Division 2 you'd like to discuss. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for sticking around, and until next time, take care.